Welcome to Deep Point Live. My name is Chinmay. As always, I'm joined by Sanlaf, and today we are going to discuss today's match between RR and CSK. So before that, just let me check whether we are live, and let me check in our channel. Just a second. If anyone has joined us, then you can also let us know in the chat box whether we are live or not. Just a second. All right. I think we are live. Let me share that in the group. All right. Hello and welcome again to Deep Point Live. And so when we look at today's match on paper, it looks almost like a one-sided affair. But if you look deeper, we are in Deep Point Live, so if you look deeper, then the story is much deeper than the margin, right? This was not just Rajasthan Royals winning comfortably. This was Rajasthan Royals getting almost every key phases right, and on the other hand, Chennai Super Kings, they got almost every key phase wrong, and from the power play to their middle overs to their bowling, and Rajasthan actually got everything right. So their bowling was sharper, and they were brutal while chasing. So Salab, let me just brief about this match a bit. Let me set up the game a bit. So Rajasthan chose to bowl first, and CSK never looked settled. Their top order crumbled. There were repeated interruptions in the sense that they lose wickets repeatedly. So from 19 for 3, then there was 57 for 6. They lose wickets at a frequency that was not expected from a team like CSK. So Jamie Overton scored a 36 ball 43 that saved CSK's innings a bit. CSK ended at 127. Then in reply, Rajasthan Royals, they made the target look tiny, and Vaibhav Suryavanshi again smashed a quick fire 50, so 52 of 17 balls. Jaswal, as reliable as always, stayed unbeaten on 38 of 36. Jurel played a good cameo of 18 of 9. And Rajasthan Royals scored 74 in their power play, and they chased the total in I think 12.1 overs. So it was a clinical show from Rajasthan Royals. But let's start with CSK and let's discuss where they went wrong and why CSK lost the match. And Salaf, so let's start with CSK, and their performance was a bit surprising, and they obviously have a good team, but the way they performed, that looked a bit surprising. So let's discuss their batting and discuss their performances in both batting and bowling, and then we will move to Rajasthan Royals.
Yeah, so first to think about if the pitch was, I think it was proper red soil pitch, and that too, this pitch also got some rainfall. So, mm, match was delayed for wet outfield, and so this is generally red soil pitch after rainfall, it becomes a little bit difficult pitch to bat on because you get a lot of movements and ball starts to grip and bounce also. And but toss is fine. Like it was good toss for Rajasthan to win, and they decided to bowl first. I think CSK also. I think Rituraj also said that he would have bowled first as well. Now, the team selection was absolutely out of my understanding because we decided
Hmm.
when we discussed about CSK, we so from the 11 that we chose, I think two players could not play today. One is Thala and the other is Brevis
Hmm.
because of some injury concerns. Now, one thing it was just out of my imagination that they would play Matthew Short. Matthew Short is not a player of, red side pitch. So, in any which way, he struggles a lot on Indian pitches. I don't know why they went with Matthew Short when they had Sarfaraz. So, Sarfaraz,
Hmm.
yes, they brought in Sarfaraz, but by then everything was over. So, and that too, if when you are replacing, on such a low scoring game, you are replacing your impact sub as a batsman, you are going in a bowler shot. So, the strategy was out of my understanding, absolutely out of my understanding. Now, there are like how the things went. So we expected a very good opening pair in Ruturaj and Samson. So that was looking very solid as an opening pair because both the players are pretty much in form. Also, Samson had a dream World T20. Rituraj also is right now pretty hungry with a lot to prove, and he also wants to be in the things and in the understanding as a Indian player. And so everything was pretty much set for CSK, but still things did not work out. So let's figure out that what happened exactly,
Hmm.
apart from the wrong team selection. So first, with the opening pair came, and we knew that Ayush is not going to be their number three batsman. And when the opening pair came, Archer and Barger, first and foremost, let's give the due credit to both these opening bowlers. They were phenomenal, especially Nandre Barger. We discussed about his talent when we were discussing Rajasthan side. Rajasthan's actually looking a pretty good side because of the fact that they are having such a great opening pair of bowling in Archer and Barger. Even if Archer has a bad day, Barger has you have a buffer in Nandri Bargar. He's a very, very proper left arm fast bowler. Today, if we'll just look at Sanju Samson's dismissal, the way the ball moved, I think
Hmm.
Sanju, it was not Sanju's fault. I cannot just
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
blame Sanju because of that shot because that ball moved out of nowhere. I think it was
Hmm.
a seam ball, so it was a wobble seam
Hmm.
type of a ball or scrambled seam type of a ball where the ball was expected to go straight and it just in the last moment it moved
Hmm. Hmm.
outside Sanju's playing line, and Sanju played for
Hmm.
the straight line, and he was playing fine. So
Hmm.
and finally the dismissal was a dream scene for any left arm fast bowler.
Hmm.
So
It came a bit inside, and then
then it moved
after that there was
then
a
after
seam movement. It
exactly
was
exactly
it
so the
was it was an unplayable delivery, and
it was
obviously a
the
dream
seam.
delivery, as you
Yeah, yeah.
mentioned.
See, the C movement was very late, so
Hmm.
that happens in any
Yeah, yeah.
scrambled sim delivery also. So that the attribute of any scrambled sim delivery that it will move late, and
And
exactly.
we have seen Burger bowling like that before, and he bowled such deliveries before. So It
He's
was
a
expected from
he's your
him.
proper he's a proper
Hmm.
trained left arm fast bowler. So
Hmm.
he's not some bowler. He doesn't get enough opportunities for South Africa. Even in the
Hmm.
World T20 also, he was not in the consideration list. But if, that's because they have Marco Janssen.
Yeah.
But otherwise, Nandre Barker is a very formidable left arm fast bowler.
Hmm.
So we cannot just. But I was really, irritated or annoyed about Rituraj's dismissal. I think that
Hmm.
was a pretty bad shot. It was a
Hmm.
nothing attempt from Rituraj, maybe because of the dot balls that he was consuming. That's why
Hmm.
he wanted to take down Archer, and he played away from the stumps, and he just exposed the stumps against Archer. That also first up,
Hmm.
not a scientific approach, and he could have given himself a little bit time. So, like, because storing his wicket when Samson is already dismissed, you
Hmm.
and the team is relatively very inexperienced team. So how
Hmm.
come the other experienced batsman, that is he himself? So when
Hmm.
one experienced player is already gone, how come he play an irresponsible shot like that? It is out of my understanding. And after that, I think, as I was mentioning, the third wicket, I think again, Namdevargar's brilliance, it was pacey. And
Hmm.
so, see, Namdevargar has pace, he has movement, he has seam movement, he has swing movement. That's why I'm saying that he's such a proper bowler. The next ball where he, kind of bamboozled Ayush Matre with raw pace, so, and also the bounce, and as I was
Hmm.
mentioning, that red soil after rainfall, it will provide you an extra bounce, and Ayush Matre got deceived by the extra bounce, and he got caught behind. I think these
Hmm.
three wickets almost, and along with that, when Short played that very cheap shot,
Hmm.
uh, um, so the problem with Short is he doesn't understand the pace at which the ball will come on any Indian track. This is my
Hmm.
observation. So
Hmm.
today also Sandeep Sharma is a definitely a very, very good bowler, but that ball was not having anything with it. It was a harmless delivery.
Hmm.
And Sandeep Sharma is also not a bowler who has a very high pace range. So he will not range the pace between 140s, and then again he will bring back to 110s and 120s. He has a
Hmm.
proper, he's a type of a Bhuvaneshwar, as we were mentioning when we discussed about Sandeep Sharma. He's a very talented bowler, but
Hmm.
he's that Gharana bowler in which Bhuvaneshwar Kumar falls.
Hmm.
So, but that was again a nothing shot from Matthew Shot. And I think once four wickets were down, they brought in Sarfaraz,
Hmm.
who looked good, because
Hmm.
if you see that Sarfaraz could have been a very very good batsman today. I don't know, when you are not having Dhoni, when you are not having Brevis, and you are thinking about putting Sarfaraz out of your playing 11. That's a
Yeah.
very out of my understanding type of a call. And
Hmm.
yeah, Sarfaraz was looking really good, but again, when Ravindra Jadeja comes up with his arm balls, and
Hmm.
that was also a proper delivery where he got the help from the pitch. He wanted to play the sweep shot, and he missed the line,
Hmm.
and it was a dead plump. So
Hmm.
once Sarfaraz was out, I think it was all but over, because Kartik Sharma is too inexperienced right now. So for him, taking the entire team to a good total after five wickets were down, it
Hmm.
was almost impossible. So yeah, and again they were playing one bowler short, so that was pretty
Hmm.
much some sort of miscalculation, a lot of things CSK needs to figure out.
Hmm. Hmm. I think they also did not had did not have the momentum and could not build a partnership, so they kept losing wickets. So they
Hmm.
lost their wickets at 14, 19, 19, 38, 51, 57, 74, 82, 94, and then 127 all out. So the only partnership there was that was the last pair between Overton and Cambodge. So that took them from 94 to 127. So somehow they could not build the partnership. So and you talked about how Jadeja, and that was a matchup. Jadeja
Jadeja and
and
Sarfaraz.
Sarfaraz, and then later also Jadeja and Shivam Dubey. So those were matchups, and Jadeja won the battle in both the cases. So that was
Absolutely.
good to see, and that's why we started this live with that statement that CSK got everything wrong in this match, and RR actually got everything right. Because even Jadeja came good in a new franchise. Obviously, it's a comeback for Jadeja in that franchise. But let's talk about the approach from CSK's batters, and in a pitch where, so yesterday we had a different kind of a pitch. Today's
Hmm.
pitch is exact opposite of the pitch that we had yesterday. And we yesterday we talked about a different batting approach. Today CSK needed to have a different batting approach. So it was, say, a 160, 170 kind of a pitch, and you have to somehow uh, assess and reassess the situation and the conditions and the pitch, and then try to come up with a different batting approach. You can't have same kind of an approach in all your matches and all T20 matches. So let's dissect CSK's batting a bit more, and let's talk about the kind of approach they had and the kind of, you already talked about their shot selection, the kind of shots that Rituraj and others played. Let's talk a bit about that. For example, when a battle like Sarfaraz, he knew uh, that Jadeja will come up with that arm ball, and when you are trying to play that sweep, there is always a big risk that you are taking in a situation when you are four down. So let's talk about that a bit more. Discussion on that, the kind of approach that CSK took in their batting, and also let's bring in the element of pitch and conditions and the situation that CSK was in.
Yeah, so definitely, like today, yesterday's match was on a green top. Today's match was on a, on a red soil pitch where we already had some rainfall and everything. Now the thing is, when we are talking about shot selection, you need to. So as I was mentioning, CSK, assessed everything wrong from the very beginning, because
Hmm.
otherwise Matthew Short in this playing 11 doesn't make any sense.
Hmm.
And Sarfaraz not being in the first 11 also doesn't make any sense, because Sarfaraz is a player who can. And I think Guwahati is that kind of a ground where you have shorter square boundaries, right?
Hmm.
So, and if you are having shorter square boundaries, then who is the best person to go to? I think it's hands down. You need to go to Sarfaraz, because he's
Hmm.
your best player of sweeps, and also he has a good cut, and also he has a good pull shot.
Hmm.
So almost also he plays a good dab shot also. So I think
Hmm.
yeah, the more maximum of Sarfaraz's shots, they come in the square region of the field. So when you have a shorter square boundary, uh,
Hmm.
you should play Sarfaraz in the first 11. So That is one misassessment. I think another thing that they did not know what should be a good target. Now look at
Hmm.
today's. I think we will come to Rajasthan's batting also. But look at Rajasthan's batting today. Yashasvi Jaiswal was not comfortable enough. Okay,
Hmm. Hmm.
that is one thing. And Vaibhav Suryavanshi, yes, he played a blinder,
Hmm.
but he was mistiming a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
So one of the reasons why he got kind of he fortunately he could play those shots was that he was playing inside the power play.
Hmm.
Now he since he
It would have been a different match if I think who was that guy who missed the catch? Uh,
yeah, so I think
Missed
Kartik
the
Sharma,
catch. So
Kartik Sharma.
if Karthik would have taken that catch,
Exactly,
then
exactly.
it would have been a different contest altogether. Yeah.
Rajasthan would have won because 127 is
Yeah, yeah, that's.
too less a
But
target, but
it would have been a bit more interesting
tight
match
con
than tight
it
a
would have been
bit.
a tight contest.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, yes, yes. Because even if CSK was playing one bowler short, because
Hmm.
Yashasvi was not looking comfortable on that pitch, because definitely because it's not easy to bat on such a pitch, and
Hmm.
as we saw that only Vaibhav's innings that created that was enough to put CSK absolutely out of the contest. So
Hmm.
after that, what Jurel did, or the kind of cameos that came from Jurel or Parag, that was not making it. Like the
Hmm.
match was all but over before that. But the thing
Hmm.
is, like if now this target would have been around 160, 170, which was
Hmm.
possible on such a ground. So it was not
Hmm.
like not like impossible because they had hitters. If you look
Hmm.
at their the players who were playing at the end, you had Dubey, you had Kartik, so you had good hitters. So
Hmm.
all the things that were required was a little bit sensible approach. Now
Hmm.
I would rather say that today the shots that were absolutely out of the place for me. Um Definitely, Samson and Ayush Matre. I think I will give full credit to Nandre Barkar. I think
Hmm.
he like earned those 2 wickets.
Hmm. Hmm.
Otherwise, if we look at as I mentioned previously, Ruturaj bad shot,
Hmm.
Matthew shot. It was nothing. It was absolutely
Hmm.
nonsense. So
Hmm.
it would have pitched nothing. So
Hmm.
Sarfaraz, as you very rightly mentioned, he was playing well.
Hmm.
Uh, Playing sweep shot against Ravindra Jadeja is a very risky thing,
Hmm.
and that too without even watching him for 1 or 2 overs. Playing a sweep against Ravindra Jadeja for first up, I think the run rate actually was putting a pressure, but they could have, like some of, like at least 1 or 2 could have held the patience, and they could have
Hmm.
gone for a longer innings.
Jadeja and
Sarfaraz,
Akshar Patel. You should not play sweep shots against Akshar Patel too often. Yeah,
unless you are set,
unless you're set. Yeah. Hmm.
number one, and unless you also have seen them for 2 or 3 overs, at
Yeah,
least
and
at least one and a half
also
of overs.
assess the length and then play the sweep shots
Definitely.
because you can't play that against that full ball, and that's a huge risk. Yeah.
It was a high risk shot. It was an extremely
Hmm.
high risk shot, and
Hmm.
more than that, Dubey, what he did just after hitting that six, then
Hmm.
I think one or two, couple of dot balls, and then when the ball is moving away from your reach, you know that
Hmm.
the long off is there, and you are playing that shot again. I don't know.
Hmm.
These two dismissals were absolutely brain-fed moments for from CSK batters. Like
Hmm.
when you know that you cannot have a 180 190 total today, but if it's coming down to 150 160, go for it. At least you have
mm,
something for the bowlers. And again, you already are playing one bowler short, because you have used your impact sub in Sarfaraz, who is not going to
mm,
contribute you in you anything in with the ball. So
mm,
you are done with your impact sub. You will not also get maybe Prashant Veer or maybe Gurjapneet. Nobody you are going to have.
mm,
I think it was pretty much very, very strategically, a lot of blunders were done by CSK in terms of playing 11, in terms of batting. Also, let's not forget that Sarfaraz was not at all ready.
no,
So Sarfaraz, it was all of a sudden a sudden decision to play Sarfaraz, and that also just after Ayush Matre was out. I think it was within the power play. So a
mm,
batsman who is not prepared for, who knows that he's not a part of the playing 11, his team is batting first. So they're like 95% probability that he's not going to come as the impact sub. So when the team
mm,
is batting first, so in that scenario, you are getting exposed within the power play, and that was a little harsh. And I think CSK's decision making and CSK's batting approach needs a lot of improvement.
mm. Uh, let's shift a gear a bit, and let's talk about Rajasthan Royals bowling a bit. And we already talked about Jofra Archer and Berger. They obviously took the important wickets. But let us also give credit to their middle over bowlers. So Jadeja took 2 for 18 in 3 overs. Bishnoi took 1 for 16 in 3 overs. Brijesh
This
Sharma,
guy impressed me. This guy
he
impressed
is
me a
he
lot.
impressed. He also, yes, he impressed a lot, and he took 1 for 17 in 3 overs. Uh, Sandeep Sharma also bowled well, as Sandeep Sharma always does. So they, as a team, Rajasthan Royals as a team, but more than that, as a bowling unit, looking absolutely gun bowling unit, and that's a great sign for them, because if you are so well prepared, and that is on show in your first match of a tournament, that's a huge plus. And we should now keep RR in the top four, or the playoffs. They are now one of the top contenders for the playoffs position, one of the playoffs position. So let's talk about their bowling, because I think that's the main story of today's match. Their batting, obviously, they even if they were 3-4 wickets down, they would have chased the total, because CSK were out of the match during their batting only. So let's talk about RR's bowling that set up the match and own them the match.
Yeah, I had put RR as one of the contenders for top four
Hmm.
in the squad analysis, and also
Hmm.
I discussed that RR is having a very underrated balance in their entire side. Just look
Hmm.
at the kind of balance that they are having. Today we saw what they are capable with the ball, and
Hmm.
even if like one bowler had failed today, so definitely not every day all the bowlers will perform well.
Hmm.
They had, the support was always there in terms of players like Jadeja, Bishnoi, who can be your container of runs, even if one bowler
Hmm.
is going for runs a lot. and Sandeep Sharma, who hardly gives away runs. So that's a
Hmm.
so these three bowlers, Jadeja, Bishnoi, and Sandeep Sharma, these are very very important for Rajasthan Royals. Brijesh impressed me a lot, as I was
Hmm.
mentioning, because he has all the weapons with him to be a very good middle over bowler. I
Hmm.
think another bowler that I would have been happy to look for was Sushant Mishra. They kept him in
Hmm.
the impact subs category, but they didn't play him. Now let's look at their batting lineup also. So
Hmm.
today they did it without Shimron Hetmeyer.
Hmm.
They did it without almost anything from players like Riyan Parag or Dhruv Jurel, though he played a cameo, so it
Hmm.
was all but over before that. So yeah, very very good balanced side, and even today they did not play. I think uh, they were planning to bring in Luandre Pretorius as their impact sub. So
Hmm.
this guy is also a very, very big six hitter. So
Hmm.
he's a very, very young chap. I think he's hardly
Hmm.
20. So
Hmm.
Luandre Pretorius, I was seeing some of his shots in net. So
Hmm.
he was hitting the ball really long.
Hmm. He
I
was
think
also a bit like Suryavanshi. His backlift and
absolutely,
everything is
absolutely,
what.
absolutely.
Hmm.
And Suryavanshi, for me, I think today Chennai actually missed the trick when he was inside the power play when he was mistiming the
Hmm.
ball. So
Hmm.
Suryavanshi is one player who's who will not have the best of the control in his shots because he
Hmm.
he fancies he fancies his shots,
Hmm.
and that's the approach of Rajasthan is going to be, because if you looked
Hmm.
today, Rajasthan's approach, Jaiswal was just giving Suryavanshi the strike, and he was just being the silent spectator from the other
Hmm.
end. So Jaiswal will only start his natural game when once Vaibhav Suryavanshi will be cheaply dismissed. So
Hmm.
why I am saying that Chennai actually missed a trick today, because this was one such pitch where 150, 160, and if you get Vaibhav cheaply, then you could
Hmm.
have taken the game very close, because today's Jaiswal was not looking comfortable,
Hmm.
and like then the pressure could have been added, and with the
Hmm.
added pressure maybe you could have brought the choke possibilities in, but with only
Hmm.
127 in hands, when you
Hmm.
have a hitter like Vaibhav, and if you could not dismiss him cheaply, I think your
Hmm.
winning probability just diminishes there.
Hmm. Uh, yeah, so let's also talk about CSK's the implication of this match for CSK and their campaign and the problems that CSK had in today's match. We discussed that, but what is the way forward for them? How should they address these problems? And let's talk about that. And RR had a almost perfect game, so uh, I think RR would like to continue what did in today's match. Obviously, they have to focus a bit on their batting, as you mentioned that they were not at their fluent best, especially Yas Yashashvi, and I think Suryavanshi will play in this fashion throughout the
Yes, 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 that's their
IPL.
strategy,
And
that's their
yeah,
strategy.
so he is the destroyer, and they will use that player in that way only, and that's the best utility you can have from him. So let's talk about CSK's uh, the implication of this particular match and the learning for CSK and their way forward, their rest of the tournament. Yeah.
They miss Brevis.
Hmm.
definitely. So I think once Brevis is fit, their team will look a little bit more stronger,
Hmm.
and they cannot take Sarfaraz out of the condition. I think now they have realized that how much important Sarfaraz is for their batting lineup. So uh, Sarfaraz will bring little bit of an experience, domestic experience, and everything into the
Hmm.
side also. So they will have to play both Brevis and Sarfaraz in the next game in their batting order. I think
Hmm.
that is something they cannot change. And in the bowling, they were fine, not very bad, not very good also.
Hmm.
But what I find is playing Henry, as I was mentioning, playing Henry, Kamboj, and Khalil all together,
Hmm.
it will put a little bit pressure in the death bowling. So
Hmm.
Gurjapneet is one such bowler that who has to come as a proper bowler. They cannot keep Gurjapneet out of the equation.
Hmm.
Noor looked okay, not too good, not too bad. So there is nothing much to talk about CSK's bowling today. CSK's batting actually was the main concern. But
Hmm.
CSK's batting can be improved because this was not the best lineup that they were playing. And I'm pretty sure that not every day Samson and Gaikwad will have both will have a bad start. So
Hmm.
it was so Samson, I think that one ball, Gaikwad that one bad shot, and these two fortunately Rajasthan they got these two most dangerous and most important batsmen very cheaply. And
Hmm.
this is actually for the other player teams who will be facing CSK. They will fancy their chances, just
Hmm.
like Rajasthan did today. That they
Hmm.
will get these two wickets very early.
Hmm.
And if you just ask me that what is the way forward for CSK, whether it's something is really wrong, I would rather say one match. And
Yeah.
till now we had three matches, and
Hmm.
if in or any of the three matches, if anything that I have observed that it the problem will definitely persist, and the team is going to struggle with that problem is SRH with their bowling problems.
Hmm.
That
Hmm.
is that is looking a permanent problem for me.
Hmm.
Otherwise, yesterday's
Hmm.
KKR performance also can be
Hmm.
improved,
Hmm.
and also today's CSK's batting performance can also be improved. KKR
Hmm.
yesterday played with in some phases they just lost the game. In some moments,
Hmm.
some phases, the MI took the game away from KKR. Otherwise, out of these three matches, only one problem is looking unsolvable for me. That
Hmm.
is SRH's bowling.
Hmm. All right. So I think we discussed today's match in detail, and I think Rajasthan Royals were sharper in both planning and execution, and they were ruthless in their batting and both batting and bowling. I think the way Berger bowled, the way Archer bowled, the way other bowlers bowled. They had plans for each of the batters and they executed them properly. But CSK could not recover from their early damages, and they could not actually come back from that. Sarfaraz and the partnership between Sarfaraz and Karthik could have been the savior when, but they could have played for a bit more time. They could have stayed there for a bit more, and then they could have finished with Shivam and others. But that did not happen. But as you rightly mentioned, they will come good. It's just the start of the tournament, and so Brevis and Dhoni and others will join the team, and then it will be a good team. And Samson and Rituraj and Matre again will, as a unit, they will come good. All right. So with that note, let's end this live, and If you stayed back till this point, then obviously thank you for watching this live, and those of you who missed the live, you can always watch it whenever you want, and please give your feedback. Please let us know whether if we have missed any point, whether you want to add something to the discussion, and also give us feedback. How can we make our content better? What kind of analysis you want to see in our channel? Yeah. So thank you for watching, and we will see you again in the next one.
Thank you.